What's up, YouTube, man? We back with another reaction video, man. Turn that volume up a little bit. Back with another reaction video. We got a lot on. So let's go on. We got that Poetic Flacco talking about
Lil Durk can't be this stupid. I refuse to believe Lil Durk is this stupid.
What do you do?
The respect I have for Lil Durk is dwindling as the day.
Hope y'all got that thonky roll, man. Cause in 3 minutes we sparking up.
Go by. Lil Durk was back in court today, man, and all we got was bad news from the court proceedings. We ain't getting out one good news.
So Durk,
but I feel like the worst part about this court proceeding is them finally revealing what exactly the antagonist was in Lil Durk's life that made him go down his murderous spree, right? The antagonist that got Lil Durk currently in jail on Fed charges, facing the rest of his life in prison. You know who convinced Lil Durk to slap Avant? You won't believe it, people. You won't believe this, man.
All right, so I'm here outside the courthouse. I just saw Lil Durk's last hearing, and there was a lot of really big information that just came out. Now, I'm going to do a bunch of breakdowns of all the information, but I'm going to hit you with the craziest piece of information that came out first. I could not believe it. They brought up WAC 100 and 6ix9ine in Durk's hearing. Now, this is insane. So they were basically arguing over a certain exhibit, and, like whether or not it should be allowed to be used, and they pretty much said
6ix9ine made King Von slide, of course. Of course, man. Of course.
There was a podcast clip of the 6ix9ine and WAC 100 interview that they basically wanted to use. The defense for Durk was fighting for it not to be included, and this is what's crazy. Now look, before I get attacked, before I get in any trouble, okay, I'm not saying WAC 100's a snitch or that he's cooperating or that he's part of this case. Same goes for 6ix9ine. 6ix9ine's not cooperating against Durk. He's not part of the case, but the interview between WAC 100 and 6ix9ine was brought up. The feds are planning to use.
Chad, I really don't know too much about the whole case. I really don't even know too much about the whole Slide for Von thing, but
there's evidence of what you might ask.
When I heard this, bruh, I was baffled. Like, I was literally stunned. Let's play the podcast clip they're referring to. This is the clip where 6ix9ine is pressing WAC 100 on why WAC 100 considers Lil Durk a gangster and why hip-hop considers Lil Durk a gangster. And 6ix9ine is telling WAC that Lil Durk can't be considered a gangster because of this.
Pull me out. They know the exact same. I'm not bringing this off topic. Let me just get this on my chest. They know the exact. Put 10 bullets in King Von and he died there by himself. Why nobody slid for that? I don't see you on Instagram saying, "Yo, go slide for that man." Y'all know what y'all saying? Yo, y'all want this? I'm gonna be real with you. No. Hold on. Hold on. Wait, hold on. Hold on. Let me be real with you, nigga. Let me be real with you.
Right?
I don't see you on Instagram say, "Yo, Durk, go slide for your man."
I discovered King Von.
No. I don't want to talk about King Von.
So I don't know no politics.
And listen, why is not sliding on?
How you know what they doing? Just because it ain't publicized on social media, how you know? How you know?
The feds are saying they got proof that Lil Durk went on the murderous spree of Quando Rondo's cousin, that Lil Durk packed up a bunch of ashy goons, put them on a private jet, paid for, like their planes, paid for their travel, paid for their guns, paid for their rental cars.
So if they got proof, why they ain't putting it out? They just saying they got proof.
They instructed them to murder Quando Rondo's cousin, and the reason why he did that was because 6ix9ine told him on a podcast to go slap a Von. You can't make this up, people.
I mean,
playing on iPhone? Now you can play Unlocked on PC with Google Play
Games. You can't say that's why Lil Durk said.
But this podcast where 6ix9ine was talking his shit against Durk, talking about, slide for Von. He said that dudes were gonna slide if I die.
I mean, Jeff, that's not enough proof. Just come on now.
We're boosting the murder rate. Dudes are gonna slide every day. All of that stuff. They're basically saying that this was evidence that this podcast blew up. It was one of the biggest aspects of the Slide for Von campaign.
Just because it blew up?
The feds literally just said it themselves that 6ix9ine and WAC 100 on that podcast, that was like the all-star team of the Slide for Bond campaign, they're saying that people
they just gonna try to lock Durk down anyway.
They said
just
that
to make an example out of these young niggas.
that Durk had seen the clip. Durk's defense were arguing, no, they hadn't said that he'd specifically been sent the clip, but he acknowledged that, the clip was going around. The clip was a very popular, element in the Slide for Von campaign that was going on. And they pretty much explained that, like, the confidential witness is going to testify that Durk either saw the clip or was aware of it.
Yeah.
And that basically there was a conversation basically saying that, like, this whole 6ix9ine WAC 100 conversation was, like, very, very negative to Durk's mindset. It was a big part of why he wanted to go and Slide for Von. When people,
I didn't need to hear that, bro. I wanted
just
to
because
keep
the
the
Fed
respect I
said
have
it,
for
though.
Lil Durk. That is absurd. Lil Durk.
How they gonna say
Do you
what's going
understand
on
how
in Lil Durk
dumb
mind?
and stupid you gotta be to fall for that trick? That's the oldest trick in the book. That's the oldest.
Bro, everybody was saying Slide for Von, bro. How they just gonna pick that one specifically out just because it blew up?
This trick in the book. Lil Durk had a $20 million record deal. He was coming home to his kids every night. He had India, a baddie, in his bed every night, and platinum records, and a #1 album. And he allowed 6ix9ine, who was cold as ice, who was falling off, who had completely ruined his face card in hip hop, who nobody wanted to hear from anymore. He allowed somebody who was down on their luck to trick him out of his position when he was at the highest of the highs in hip hop. You can't be this stupid. You can't. Durk,
I don't agree with you on this one, Poet.
because I still want to respect you, bro.
Flacco,
that
I don't
you
agree with
crashed
you
out
on
because
this.
6ix9ine said go Slide for Von. And this ain't 6ix9ine before he. This is 6ix9ine after he ratted. So you already knew who you was dealing with. This is, oh my God. And to make things worse, 6ix9ine reacted to this news. He reacted to Lil Durk crashing out over him. And you know what 6ix9ine had to say? And this should be y'all wake-up call and y'all lesson. 6ix9ine tells Lil Durk, crashing out because a Mexican with rainbow hair. Grown man, by the way, left your family for Instagram comments.
Right?
Yo, you can't. Hey, listen, man. If this ain't your wake-up call, man, to lead the streets and the internet alone, bruh, this should be your wake-up call, man. All right? You gonna be the biggest B in the world if you don't crash out, and the minute you crash out, you the biggest dummy.
You the biggest dummy.
So you gotta choose, man. Right? You either a B that's free and up millions, or you the biggest gangster who's behind bars for life. You choose. I'd rather be the biggest B that's free and enjoying my wealth if I'm Lil Durk. Okay? This is just, oh my, this is just disgusting, bro. This is just sad, man. And now that Lil Durk is in the predicament he's in, the news he got in court today, it was nothing but bad news. It was bad news after bad news after bad news after bad news. Bro, we learned, right, that Lil Durk's, one of his closest homies, is betraying him. Fam, this was the homie.
I keep hearing people say this, but I'm not seeing none of it, bro.
By the way, who Lil Durk gave $50,000 to when he came home and recorded it.
Oh, yeah.
This was supposed to be one of the most solid ones in Lil Durk crew. Coming to find out, man, he's cooperating and taking a stand against Lil Durk to save his own behind. And he's not even indicted in this murder case. He just ain't want to go sit down for a couple of years. So he's telling on Lil Durk and risking Lil Durk doing life in prison because he don't want to go sit down for 4 to 5 years for some gun and, for some gun and violent charges.
Is it the Tap dude or whatever his name is, or the nigga that came on with the Y?
So I'm here at the federal courthouse after the Lil Durk hearing, and we just had some very, very interesting information about possibly the most well-known alleged cooperator in this case, OTF Jam. Now, there was a crazy back and forth where they brought up a bunch of things about Jam. They said that the song Back Again was going to be used. And I'm not going to lie, I was happy to hear that because that's like one of my favorite songs. But obviously, you know, in that song, he talks about, you know, Jam got out that jam, I gave him 50,000, he ain't got to ask again. Well, they're basically saying that Jam is going to testify and cooperate and say that that 50,000 that Durk gave him, that he rapped about in Back Again, which, bear in mind, was made before King Von even died. But Jam is going to testify and say that he believes that he was given that money basically as like a, you know, as a show of loyalty to basically kind of get, you know, some kind of like future, as basically not like a prepayment, but basically like on the hopes that in future he might be able to do things for him, he might be able to slide for him.
I used to be somebody who, no matter who asks me for something, I'm there, I'm giving it to you. Yo, the minute I realize, the minute I realize in life, you gotta take care, and the only people you take care of are the people you know for a fact. If you down on your last,
they gonna have your back.
And they got they last, they gonna bust down the last they have to make sure you straight.
You feel me?
I got a short list of those people. My mama.
Yep.
My brother.
Yep.
And God willing, if I have a wife one day, it'll probably be my wife. Okay? My parents, my brother, and my future wife. Right? Because those are the people who I know for a fact. Listen, man, if I'm down to my last and I don't got nothing and rent is due, and my mama got her last 5,000, she's giving me that money to pay my rent. Straight up. Mama ain't let me. So mama gonna always be straight.
Oh, my dukes ain't going.
You sign multi-millions of dollars instead of staying out the way. Like kicking it with your shorty, kicking it with your kids, and leaving them alone. You give somebody $50,000 because you thinking, man, bro, this is the right thing to do, man. My guy just got home from jail. I'm taking care of him. And that same guy who took that $50,000,
all right, took your $50,000,
bought toilet paper to wipe his butt with, probably paid for his kid's formula with that $50,000, bought a whip for his kid to go to school in.
Ooh.
That same guy that took your $50,000 to take care of him and his family is now taking a stand and telling them folks that $50,000 was gang payment. That $50,000 that you gave that guy is about to be used to get you life in prison. Life ain't fair, bruh. But you gotta know life ain't fair. This is ruthless, bruh. Durk gave that man $50,000 on the wake up. 50 that could have went to his own family.
Right out though.
And he took that 50 and he's about to take the stand and testify, oh yeah, Durk gave him that 50 so he could commit murders on behalf of Lil Durk. This is crazy. Now here's the thing, right? This dude would even testify. Now this is like strange as well, because this would tell me that the FBI know that this dude is a murderer, and he probably got murders like under his belt they haven't solved yet. But he would testify that Lil Durk actually advised them to chill up on the murders because the feds is on them.
Did you know that you can form an Illinois LLC for $0 plus state fees? It's fast and easy using Zendesk.
Now, what's crazy is that he's allegedly
gonna
testify that actually when they were filming a music video, at some point, okay, this is absolutely crazy. At some point, all right, Durk and a bunch of the other members apparently confronted Jam in a bathroom. They took him into the bathroom, which is super weird, and they apparently confronted him, and they basically said, "You moving too hot, you're gonna get us jammed up. You got to be more careful about committing murders, and you're gonna get the feds on us." Now, apparently, that wasn't talking about the Pab murder. Apparently there's other murders, and it sounds like he's actually going to admit to the feds that he was doing all kinds of murders that haven't even been prosecuted by the sounds of it, not even related to this murder, and that he was basically a top hitter in OTF and for the Black Disciples.
This testimony, by the way, is going to be more effective when they start the RICO case for Lil Durk after this case, right? So the judge ruled they had to sever the RICO case from this case. So Lil Durk might have some action on this case, but after this case, there's a RICO. This testimony and this statement is gonna be more serving during the RICO, right? When the feds give him a get out of jail free card, you can admit to all the murders right now and you won't be charged for it. But he about to say, hey, bro, Durk had me killed this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. on behalf of OTF. Oh, by the way, listen, man, Big Zoo, Lil Durk, King Von, oh yeah, they shot that man.
He ain't getting out of jail, gang. It don't matter what you tell. If you done committed murder, if you done told Durk, you might get, you feel me, you might get it reduced. But you not getting out. You not getting a get out of jail free card just because you tell Durk. Come on, if Durk told you to commit a murder, you committed to murder. Come on, bro. 3-4 murder. Come on,
behalf
you not
of
getting out of
OTF.
jail.
Oh, by the way, this dude robbed that guy, bribed that guy. Oh, by the way, they killed Stephen Mack because Lil Durk paid him on behalf of OTF. Yo, the RICO that Lil Durk is facing after this, to me, that RICO to me, that one? Oh, no. That's going to be the case that I think Lil Durk can't escape. Lil Durk might escape this one. But that RICO after, no. And we're already seeing like some insight into exactly what the feds about to blitz Lil Durk with. Now, apparently they got like a witness list of like 35 people that's taking a stand to testify against Lil Durk. And I can almost guarantee you out of that 35, at least 5 or 10 are going to be Lil Durk close homies, right? People he done fed before, right? Ungrateful savages, man.
So there were a couple of really interesting new things that came up in Durk's hearing today that I didn't get a chance to tell you about earlier. One of the biggest things that I'm seeing everybody talking about since we got the update was that there are officially 35 witnesses that the government are planning to bring forward towards Durk. Damn. The judge was shocked at this. When the prosecution said we got 35 witnesses, the judge went, 35? And they said, yeah. And they said, look, some of them we're going to get through quickly. They explained who some of the witnesses that they were calling were, and it was really interesting. And to be honest, some of the people that they're bringing,
witnesses, bro,
they got a lot of history. So apparently, one of the people that they want to bring is a detective in Chicago who has a lot of experience with gang cases, with the Black Disciples, Gangster Disciples. And apparently, this gang detective in Chicago has actually arrested Lil Durk in Chicago before. Now, they said that they weren't actually going to, or they weren't allowed to bring that up. That wasn't... The fact that he had arrested Durk back in the day wasn't something that they said that they wanted to bring up. That just was by the by. But this is a gang expert that they want to bring. In addition to that, they apparently said, look, we're going to get through some of them quickly. For example, they said that one of the people that they wanted to bring forward was some kind of detective, or not detective, but basically they said that somebody was going to come along with accompanying evidence, and that evidence was going to be surveillance footage from the San Diego airport, where basically like the hitmen had been flown out from Chicago to San Diego rather than LA. I don't know why they did that. I don't know if they thought that would help them like evade detection, or it would help them not get caught if they landed in San Diego and drove up to LA to commit this murder. It doesn't really make sense. But like, those are just like a couple of the witnesses that we found out that want to be brought forward. There were kind of witnesses on the other side that were discussed. You know, there's basically like the gang expert that arrested Durk back in the day. Drew Findling did an amazing masterclass in court where he basically said, well, we've got our own gang expert that I know that the state don't want to include. So basically, we'll withdraw our gang expert if you withdraw your detective. And to be honest, the judge was going for it a little bit. The judge was basically like, look, it's kind of an all or nothing deal. And what was so interesting is the judge basically said to Drew Findling, if you submit everything that you're going to ask these experts, I'll go over it, and then I'll let you know it's either all or nothing. It's either both or not. And I just explained it in a longer video on my channel, Trapmore Ross, that I'm about.
A lot of these trials recently got gang experts. Now, the reason why a gang expert, I guess, is important is because the gang expert is going to come. He's essentially going to, like, name or label like why Quando Rondo and Lil Durk got beef, like where this started issues. You know, he's gonna dive deep into Lil Durk, like text messages, see certain terminology, and then testify what those terminology mean. Testify like what this means in gang terms, right? Like, you know, like how the hierarchy of a gang works, how Lil Durk can still be involved even though Lil Durk is not there. And the reason why a gang expert more specifically is valuable, right, to the prosecutor during this specific trial is because apparently, like, the judge ruled, right, that a phone that was seized from Lil Durk in an unrelated incident can be used at trial, right? So they're gonna take a lot of messages, a lot of evidence, right? Like a bunch of things from this phone, and the gang expert is essentially gonna try to like corroborate whatever the Fed's agenda or narrative is for whatever they find in his phone.
Right, so I'm still outside the courthouse from the Lil Durk hearing, and there was another kind of not so great piece of news for Durk. I mean, really, this was actually very bad news. It was ruled that this evidence that was on his phone, remember we heard about he had a phone that was taken from him after he was this victim of a home invasion in 2021. You know, he had fired shots into the air, and allegedly, you know, the cops basically said that they had probable cause to seize his phone to investigate because things weren't really adding up. Even though he was the victim of an alleged home invasion, they said that he'd been reckless and fired the shots into the air. Now, they held on to that phone from 2021. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation, because it happened in Atlanta, they had kind of, you know, tried to crack the phone. They had got like a very basic, you know, cracking of the phone where it was in a, they described it as like a first unlock mode. So if you turn your phone off and you turn it back on, you know, you're in a first unlock. It hasn't been unlocked yet, right?
Yeah.
So if your phone is in that state, what it basically means is that they can't get everything. They can't get all the messages. They can get all your images. They can get the thumbnails. They can get screenshots, but they can't get the actual messages. So Durk and his team were basically trying to argue that because the phone had been held onto for 5 years, the FBI filed a federal search warrant for the phone all the way in June 2026, that they shouldn't be allowed to use that evidence, and it was gathered improperly. This was an L for Durk. The judge basically said, look, it seems like the cops acted in good faith. They had good reason to look at the phone, to seize the phone, to go through the phone back then because of the reckless shots that were fired into the air. It's not the FBI's fault. It's nothing to do with the FBI that the phone was held onto for so long. The FBI asked for that information in good faith, and the judge even said that if they continue trying to get hold of all of the other contents of the phone that weren't available yet, if they get them between now and the trial, which is in like a couple of weeks, he said, well, if the feds manage to get all of the information off those phones, then we're gonna have to revisit it then and decide whether I'm going to be allowing them to look at all that stuff. And it sounds like that is going to be able to be used against him. And the contents of the phone was pretty damning. It was, you know, photographs, screenshots. Apparently there was a screenshot of a conversation where they were trying to get Lil Tim's address, and the government basically said, yeah, that we have the metadata to show that screenshot was 2 days after Lil Tim was released on house arrest. So they were tracking his movements. It sounded like the stalking was taking place.
I'm gonna say this one more time, right? Because we go back and forth between Lil Durk is cooked, Lil Durk is not cooked. What I'm gonna say is this, man. All right, Lil Durk might have some action at beating this murder case, right? Because Lil Durk hasn't really talked about this murder case. They don't really got much evidence on Lil Durk in regards to this murder case. Lil Durk might have some action in regards to this murder case. But the RICO, they already got filed and waiting for Lil Durk after this. It's over with, bro. It's done, man. Yo, there's communication of y'all tracking King Von's killer, like Lil Tim, after he got out of jail and was on house arrest. You guys are sending messages back and forth. Quando Rondo tried to squash the beef. You told Quando, make peace with this switch. Oh, nah, man. When this RICO hit, it's gonna be bad. But Lil Durk might have some action at this murder case, man. I just can't believe that Lil Durk is this dumb to crash out over 6ix9ine. Y'all let me know in the comment section, what do you guys think of this? If you're still watching this video and you want to watch another good video, then click on this video right here.
Chat, let me know what y'all think, man. Like I said, I don't really too much care about it. I just thought y'all maybe, you feel me? But me personally, I think he cooked. 35 witnesses, you ain't getting away from that.